There are 1,000 hacking at the branches of evil to one who is striking at the root, and it may be that he who bestows the largest amount of time and money on the needy is doing the most by his mode of life to produce that misery which he strives in vain to relieve. It is the pious slave breeder devoting the proceeds of every 10th slave to buy a Sunday's liberty for the rest. You boast of spending a 10th part of your income in charity. Maybe you should spend the 9/10 so, and done with it. I do not value chiefly a man's uprightness and benevolence, which are, as it were, his stem and leaves. Those plants, of whose greenness withered we make herb tea for the sick, serve but a humble use, and are most employed by quacks. I want the flower and fruit of a man, that some fragrance that wafted over him to me, and some ripeness flavor our intercourse. His goodness must not be a partial and transitory act, but a constant superfluity, which costs him nothing and of which he is unconscious. He cures himself of his dyspepsia. The globe acquires a faint blush on one or both sides of his cheeks, as if it were beginning to ripe, and life loses its cruelty, and is once more sweet and wholesome to live. I never dreamed of any enormity greater than I have committed. I never knew and never shall know a worse man than myself. Let this be righted. Let the spring come to him, the morning rise over his couch, and he will forsake his generous companions without apology. Our manners have been corrupted by communication with the saints. Our hymn books resound with the melodious cursing of God and enduring him forever. One would say that even the prophets and redeemers had rather consoled the fears than confirmed the hopes of man. If, then, we would indeed restore mankind by truly Indian, botanic, magnetic, or natural means, let us first be as simple and well as nature ourselves. Dispel the clouds which hang over our brows, and take up little life into our pores. Do not stay to be an overseer of the poor, but endeavor to become one of the worthies of the world. Fix not thy heart on that which is transitory. So these excerpts were from page 62 to 64 of the edition of Walden in Civil Disobedience that's in the comments below, in the link below. And it's the end of the first chapter called Economy. And I think it's a good example of Thoreau saying, that we don't need nature necessarily to be good men, but we need to be like nature, to be constant and not transitory, as he says at the end there. So take a look. I'm going to post an activity below, a writing activity, and get a copy of Walden and read it again and try to understand what he's saying. I think this book often gets misinterpreted as a guide to nature, or people after they read it, it's in popular culture remembered that way, but it's more than that. It's a guide to being alone and being comfortable with who you are, but also understanding who you are.